good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Whatever time you're watching this Student Athlete Playbook video conversation, we say thank you. I am Barry Brown, author of the Amazon bestseller and the #1 book for youth student athletes, the Student Athlete Playbook, Success in the Classroom, Sports, and Life, and also a member of the leadership team for the nonprofit organization Youth Education and Sports, where we help young people find out who they are, meet them where they are, and help them to develop into the young people and the adults that they say they want to become. As always, we always interview, connect with, and have these amazing video conversations with the best student athletes, the best parents, the best coaches, the best youth service providers, and of course, the best educators around the world. And today is no different. This young man I've known for a very long time. Man, we've done business together. Matter of fact, over 2 decades. I think over 2 decades now. And this gentleman is just amazing. He's been a great friend to me, a great business partner, business associate. And today, man, we're gonna get into it and talk about life, about accountability, about sports, about business. So today, we're speaking with none other and featuring none other than the man himself, JaWar, Mr. Think, Plan, and Execute. How you doing, my brother?
Oh, thank you very much. I'm doing amazing, astounding, incredible. I'm doing stupendous. I appreciate you for asking, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here to speak with you today, my good brother. Yes, it's been well over 3 decades, believe it or not. And I chronicle that in part with knowing that I have known you before the publishing of my very first book, The Atlanta Music Industry Connection, which had its 20th year anniversary last year. And so we knew each other way before then. So that's kind of how I'm able to chronicle the time. But again, I'm honored and privileged. I don't do many interviews anymore. So this is one that when asked, it was no question that I would make sure that I was present.
Yes, I appreciate you, my brother. And what's so beautiful about this, with this platform, we're able to, connect with people that we know. Of course, you've seen a lot of our mutual friends on here when we started talking about DeJuan Coolwater Alexander, Mr. Ty Cohen himself, just all these people that we've had interactions with over the years and are good friends. That they're our brothers and the sisters that we've had as a featured guest on the Student Athlete Playbook video conversation, man. So it's just a beautiful thing that I get to have these amazing conversations, and I pray that they're helping so many people. See, that's the key with what we do, JaWar. We're helping people, man. We share this information freely, and we hope somebody benefits from it. So this is what it's all about. And with youth education and sports, our youth student athlete program that we help young people with, you're going to give out some great information today that I think a lot of parents, a lot of coaches, a lot of youth service providers will love to receive. And listen, while you're watching this, make comments. If you're watching it live, feel free to make a comment, and it's going to pop up, and we're gonna answer your question or shout you out, one of the two. So hey, let's go ahead and get started, John. And let's start with this. You just mentioned it before. We've known each other for a very long time. However, a lot of people may not know where we met. So we met in Atlanta, Georgia, while we were both actively working in the music industry. So that's how we met. Yeah. And I want to know, and really, I kind of remember, but refresh my memory. Why did you get into the music industry? What brought you to Atlanta, and why did you get into the music industry?
Great question. So, how much time we have?
we got all the time in the world, my brother. Yes, sir.
So,
take your time.
Yeah. So, what brought me to Atlanta was Well, if I'm being totally transparent, what brought me to Atlanta was love.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm being totally transparent, right? So,
Mhm.
um, I'm originally from California, and
Okay.
I was an artist, um, and I always had an affinity for the music business. And so, as I was writing and recording, I was investing my own money into my music business endeavors while as a high school student.
Mhm.
And so I started to study, to research, and learning about the music business. I figured that I needed to set up a record company and a music publishing company. And so when I asked my parents about doing it, they said, well, go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Is that what you want to
That's
do?
right.
Make it happen. So
Right.
I took my proceeds, meaning the money that I was earning while working as a high school student, and started my own
Yeah.
businesses. Um, and so I think I was maybe a sophomore in high school at the time. And as kept pursuing my music, I became a senior in high school, and I was doing fairly well with my music. I was doing doggone well with my music independently,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Pressing up back then cassettes for those of you who've been around for a
That's
little
right.
while. You know what I mean?
Young people, cassettes are real. Google them, AI them, and find out what they look like. But
Right,
cassettes are real.
right. And we did vinyl records as well. So,
Mhm.
long story short, it came time. I had a decision to make if I wanted to, continue to pursue the music business and potentially um, entertain a major recording contract being courted by some labels then, or go to school and pursue my formal education.
Yes, sir.
And after much thought, prayer, and counsel, I decided that I would pursue my formal education. And I was looking at several different schools, one of which was actually Albany State, right, in Georgia.
That's
Um,
right. South Georgia, stand up.
yeah. And so my father and I took a tour of the campus, and the brother that was taking us around was, talking with me. He was asking me where I was from. And when I told him, he said, you know what? He said, if I'm being totally transparent, I think you would do better in Atlanta.
What?
He
Okay.
said, because, you know, he said, Albany's a great school. This is my alma mater, and we would love to have you, but we would rather you have set you up for success. And he said, you just may not be accustomed to this rural environment, you know.
How about that?
And I
That's right.
appreciated that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's when I started looking at Atlanta, and there was some other reasons as well. I mentioned love, but
Mhm.
so I started looking at Atlanta, and so I knew that I was going to continue with my music. So I was looking at schools that had some type of music program, and I wanted to go to a HBCU, right? Because where
Mhm.
I grew up, it was a multicultural, faceted environment for the most part in terms of the high school that I went to. And so I knew that I wanted to, go to a HBCU coming off of watching like the School Days, you know what I'm saying, with Spike
That's
Lee and
right.
things like that. I wanted to get that vibration. And then there were students that had graduated and matriculated a few years before me, and they would come back home and they would talk about their experiences in Atlanta and going to different HBCUs. And it sounded really exciting. It was just something that was vibrant and growing. And so I looked
Mhm.
at Morris Brown, and at the time, Morris Brown had a music business and music engineering program where would do like your first 2 years at Morris Brown, and then you would transfer to Georgia State, and you would get to do a degree. And
Oh wow, I like
I
that.
said, well, this
Okay.
is excellent. I'm getting the best of both worlds. I get to be in Atlanta, go to a HBCU, but then also get to experience some of that other part, of the college experience. And so that was what brought me to Atlanta. And that was sort of the bridge there with the music.
Wow.
And so when I went to Atlanta, you know, going into my formal studies at Morris Brown, that was my freshman year. And then I actually transferred to Clark Atlanta my sophomore year. You know, like that. There were some things that just were, you know, taking place. And so I needed to make an adjustment. And so I went right across the street and transferred to Clark, stay right there at home,
That's right.
HBCU, AUC love for sure. And that's the short story of what brought me to Atlanta and how I got started in the music business. And, you know, one thing led to the next, where I was not only doing the artistry and the music business side, the recording side, but then I got into the educational piece because I found out that I had a particular knack for not just networking with industry professionals, but disseminating useful information in a way that other people could digest it, because I had a passion for studying it. And so myself and a friend of mine, Natoba Watson from New York, we were both students at CAU, and we decided to put on our first music conference there at Wright Hall on the campus of Clark Atlanta University.
I know Wright Hall.
Yep.
So watch this, Jock. So hold that thought right there, because now you're going into another area. But listen, what I want to point out, and so what I want all the people that's watching this video to understand, that he sat down with young people. He sat down with his parents.
Indeed.
And talked about what he wanted to do before he left high school.
Indeed.
You see, he didn't wait till he already had graduated from high school and was sitting around twiddling his fingers. He talked about this before he graduated from high school.
Indeed.
And then his parents took him to the colleges that he was interested in, so he can find out firsthand what it's like. But we always encourage you to go visit the school that you're interested in, so you can make sure. And I wrote this down, Job. The best fit. What is the best fit for you? And shout out to that admissions counselor, that guy that you had at Albany State. Shout out to the Albany State. I believe they're the Rams down there.
Yeah.
Hey, he said, nah, this is probably not the best fit for you, brother, because you're trying to get into something that's popping in Atlanta. And at that time, Atlanta was about to bust out the seams at that time. So hey, man, shout out to that gentleman who told you, hey, this is probably not the best fit for you. But hey, go check out some schools in Atlanta. And then I also wrote down, you actually looked for a school that had the program that you wanted. Music business. You wanted to learn more about the music business. So young people, counselors, coaches, educators, when you're talking to these young people, hey, make sure that they're picking schools that have the majors and the areas of interest that they want to pursue. Because the last thing you want to do is be in a position where you spent money, even if you get a scholarship, that you've gone and gotten this education, and it's something that you really don't want to do. Or worse, you can't even find any work in that field, which we know a lot of people have gotten degrees and they don't work anywhere close to that field of business and how they live their lives. So, hey, shout out, hey, Ja, thank you for that. Now, Ja, you mentioned California. You from California, West Side. You know, when I'm speaking, Ja, I'm just gonna throw this out there to you. I throw up these W's, right? But I'm not from the West Side. See, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, Southwest Atlanta to be exact. And then, group went to high school out in Clayco. So shout out to Morrow too. You know what I'm saying? But I throw up the W's when I'm speaking. But I throw up the W not for West Side, but I throw it up for work. This is the big work W, man.
Right.
This right here. You know what I'm saying? Right. But West Side, you from Cali. Yeah. Where are you from specifically in California?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. So I'm from a city. I grew up in a city called Linwood, which is literally right next to Compton. And you mentioned the W for work, and you mentioned the West Side, but there's actually a really small city that a lot of people know about historically called Watts. And the W originally came from Watts. The brothers and sisters used to throw up the W to represent Watts. See, this was before Ice Cube was doing the West Side Connection. A lot of people don't know that, right?
I
And
got you.
then,
I did not know that. Okay.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then he took that and took it to a whole different level, you know, created the group and, you know what I'm saying, and then it just, with the hip hop music and hip hop culture on the West Side, it took on a new form. But truth be told, that W actually came from the brothers and sisters used to throw it up for Watts. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, yeah, so Linwood isn't too far from Watts. It's on the bordering city right next to Compton. And that's where I grew up. And actually my freshman year in high school, that was a trip. I went to Linwood High, and then I transferred to a school out in more of a multicultural suburb area called Cerritos. The name of the school is called JaWar High School, and that's where I actually finished my high school. But both experiences was good. Linwood just had a different level of element and environment to it. And again, in talking with my parents, in order to, you know, ensure that I was going to get the best experience, then it was, we discussed it as a family. And you know, my parents obviously had the final word, but it was like, okay, well, let's do something different to give you the best chance for success. And so that's where the transfer was put in, and I finished. And I'm glad that I did, because I met a lot of great people, had family, you know, that went to GAR, and got love all the way around. But the city that I grew up in, you know, if a person rep a city, mine is Linwood, but, you know, family, you know, all in Compton, you know what I'm saying, like that, LA and that kind of thing for sure. Yeah.
Wow. So, Ja, you hit on several things. Again, shout out to your parents, man, because I know you have two fathers, and you know, you got your biological father, of course, then you had outstanding bonus father. And so, bro, what I love that you're sitting here, again, you talk with your parents about going to college, and y'all went and visited schools to make sure they were great fits for you. Yeah. But then you're talking about even switching high schools. And when we're working with youth student athletes, I mean, I even had to do it when I was in high school. You know, now it's gotten much bigger, where kids are transferring schools all the time, brother.
Right.
For sports reasons, for academic reasons, for other extracurricular activities like band and things of that nature. Like you said, you went to Morris Brown because they had a great music business program,
right?
In a dual situation with Georgia State. So I love that, because right now you see it happening all the time, and I like the fact that your parents sat down with you and talked about, hey, we got to find the best school for you at each stage. And I know I've done that with my children. I know that you're doing that currently with your children. So, hey, parents, this is what I want to make you understand from what JaWar just said. And that's why we call him, and that's why he is called Mr. Think, Plan, and Execute. Obviously, he's been doing this since a young age, and his parents, his family instilled this in him, where they actually think about what they want to do. They plan it out, and then they go execute it. I love that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the schools that we go to, the community absolutely has everything to do with how that school operates and what kind of young people it produces.
Yeah.
You have the power. So if you have a school in your community that's not achieving high, you have the power to change that. Let me make sure I state that to you clear and plain. Yeah. Okay. And we want to put our kids, our children, in the best schools possible. Thank you, John, for making sure on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I may,
yes, sir.
I want to make sure that I connect these dots, which is the relationships. One of my favorite high school counselor, you know what I mean? Probably she's a lot of people's favorite. Her name is Miss Lynn Wirt. Miss Lynn Wirt, right?
Okay.
And she's from Compton. Now get this.
Compton in the house,
right? She and I are actually Facebook friends today.
Excellent.
You feel me?
Wow.
And she a lot of her former students are friends with her on Facebook, and she connects with us, you know, and so I can only imagine how it is for her to see us when we were children, adolescents.
Right.
And
Right.
and now to be, full-fledged adults, some of us have, not me, what I'm saying, but some of us have grandchildren, for her. And so I just wanted to put her name in the hat because Miss Wirt was very instrumental. She was somebody that I can go talk to when there was some concerns at the school, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she helped
Right.
keep things in line. She understood, you know what I'm saying, what was
Right.
going on. So it's important to have those relationships with people, and you never know how far and how deep those relationships will go in life.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yep. And
Wow.
she helped open up doors for me and many others as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm gonna take young people. I'm gonna take this from what JaWar just said. Mr. Think, Plan, Execute. He just mentioned the word relationships, and we know that we have to build a relationship with people. We've talked about this many times over the years. That's probably the biggest lesson my father taught me. And shout out to all the dads out here. Father's Day coming up tomorrow. So shout out to all the dads out in the world. That's real talk for real. But this is a shout out to my dad. That's one of the number one lessons he taught me was networking and building relationships. And when we're young, we have these favorite teachers or these favorite counselors or principals or what have you. And like you said, these people can continue to be our, not necessarily friends per se, but they can continue to be these mentors to us all these years.
Yeah.
When we become adults and continue to help us. And we serve as help to them because they may need us for something. And then boom, we can turn around and help them because now we're adults and we'll be built relationships and we can serve in another capacity to them other than just a student and a mentee at that time, man. And that's one of the biggest things as a former full-time educator job. It happens to me all the time. But most recently, I was on Bankhead, bro, Donnelly Hollowell Parkway at the AutoZone getting a battery because my truck wouldn't start. I had to get a battery. And bro, I saw the young man looking at me. He was like, man, well, I saw him looking at me, but I didn't think nothing of it. So I get the battery. I'm going outside. One of my co-workers is, taking me back to my car. So I'm like, boom. And so the dude stopped me. He said, hey, man, did you used to work at Morrow? And I'm like, yeah. And I said, you went to Morrow? Then, he told me his name. I said, man, I do remember your face by far. I said, man, can I ask you how old you are? He said, man, I'm 33 now. And I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? So, and then I had to remember, I got students that are 38 now and things of that nature. So the relationships and these things and the work that we do as educators, especially when these kids and these young people grow up, and then they're happy to see you because he didn't have to say nothing to me.
Right.
But he chose to say something, and we had a good conversation, man, and we went on our way. But it's a beautiful thing. And shout out to Miss Lintworth. Which school was she at? Which school was she at, Ja?
She was at Gar High School.
At Gar. So shout out to Miss Lintworth at Gar. Linworth.
Yes, there you go. Almost like Linwood, but Linworth.
Almost like Linwood, right? Shout out to Miss Linworth and Gar. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, shout out to that whole Cali West Side. That's right. The W stands for work, coming out of Watts. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, I got the whole history. I never knew that about where Ice Cube and them got that from, but now I got it, bro. Yeah. And that's funny because I'm throwing it up for work, and you just gave us the real definition of that West Side W. So, hey, so shout out to Compton, shout out to Linwood, California, Watts, California. You know what I'm saying? Because it produced my brother JaWar. So speaking of that, and speaking of work, Ja, because I'm big on this, and everybody that knows us and that's a part of the program, they know we serious about this work, bro. Because everybody seems like they want something for nothing. I'm like, well, how you gonna get the car? How you gonna get the house? How you gonna get all this stuff you say you want? But it seems to me that you don't want to work. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? So knowing you, John, knowing all the work that we've done together from the music industry to now, where did you get your work ethic from? Where do you believe you got your work ethic from?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, truth be told, is that it's in my DNA. But and when I say that, let me be clear.
Mm-hmm.
I had and have examples from family. So I come from, on all sides, I come from a family that's driven, where
Mm.
most everyone, even if they had a 9 to 5 job, they always had something else on the side. You know what I mean? And,
Gotcha.
and,
Yeah.
and it was entrepreneurial, sales, hustle
Yeah, that's right.
mentality all the way around. You know what I mean? Like in my family, if you didn't sell something, it was like, well, why are you not selling nothing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? You
That's right.
just you had a product that you would sell, and in that you develop the skills. Like even now, and perhaps we'll talk about them a little more in depth in the conversation, but this is timely. And my
Mm-hmm.
children say, Baba, which is father, or Daddy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You do you know those people? No, why? Well, you just start speaking to them. I'm like, well, they people, right? Yeah, well, we all on earth, right? Well, they here, and the opportunity present itself for me to introduce myself and have a conversation. I don't know where it's gonna go. It may just be, they just people. Like, and I
Right.
encourage my children to do the same thing. When you're on the playground, go talk to the other children. I actually push them. Go talk. I don't want to. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and go talk to them, because you need to develop
Right.
these skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's from, when I say it's in my DNA, I had a I have a community, a family, a tribe, if you would, that is encouraged and nurtured to learn about interacting with people, to do sales, to go into a room and find the person that you need to start talking to, and then from there just springboard that into other conversations. And if you didn't come from a family, let me say this part, if you don't come from that sort of family, you can develop the skills on your own. You can
Absolutely.
read, you can read. There's plenty of sales material, books about that. You can start going to events and look as though you were there to engage and interact and be open and receptive, and
Mm-hmm.
just start doing that. You don't have to come from a family of entrepreneurs and hustlers, legal hustlers, right? You don't have to come from a family
Right.
on that side,
Right.
but you do have to have the desire, and that's the greatest part of it all, is having a desire. Mhm.
Woof. Woo. Desire.
Yeah,
Listen,
man.
hey, y'all, we deal with student athletes from around the country. Matter of fact, we're getting ready to take a group. This will be our second year taking a group physically out to California. So shout out to our brother organization out in California.
Okay.
We Are Game by my man Al Thigpen, and we'll be going to the annual Student Athlete Success Conference, and we'll be at the University of California, Santa Barbara, man. And
Hmm. Beautiful.
and what you just said, desire.
Yeah.
That's what we push. Like desire. Like, hey man, listen, you gotta want something. And when you start talking about building the skills, so work ethic has become a skill set.
Mm-hmm.
That's the amazing thing. Something that we were just taught now has become a skill set. You
Mm.
putting forth effort now is a skill set.
Mm.
So just what I wrote down from what you said, you got to develop skills, social skills and business skills.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the best ways to do that is through reading and actually getting out the house
Mm.
and going to events and activities where you're around other people,
Mm-hmm.
where you can start speaking to other people and
Yeah.
getting around like-minded people, basically finding your tribe and
Yeah.
grow from there. I
May I
love that,
add,
job.
may I add something to that?
Absolutely.
So when we think about uh, NIL endorsements, right? And we talk
Mm-hmm.
about networking and the social business skills that's needed, brands,
Mm-hmm.
companies, whether they are a mom and pop, a medium size, or a corporate 500 publicly traded entity, they want to align with student athletes that represent the brand properly, right? So they want to
Woo! Say
ensure
it one
that
more time, Job. They
they
want to connect with who?
they want to align with student athletes that represent the brand properly. They want you to be clean. They don't want you to have they don't want you to be troubled. Now, if you have a troubled background, and you are a student athlete, then there's still time to clean, change, reform, and use that as part of your storyline that can be compelling and attractive to match with the right brand. So by you engaging, communicating, reaffirming your work ethic, your W, then you will attract like minds and like brands and like personalities. And that can be a direct financial benefit to you and your family. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Yes, indeed.
Representing the brand properly, lead, and you are a brand. So that's what JaWar are talking about. If you're representing your personal brand properly, which is you, another company may want you to represent their brand properly.
And
if you clean, man, that's thank you, Ja. I love that. And when you're watching, if you have any questions for JaWar, just put them in the comment section. We'll answer those questions. Or if you just want to be shouted out, we'll shout you out too. So listen, JaWar has talked about best fit for college. Visiting the colleges is very important. He's talked about relationships and networking. He's talked about building the skills to pay the bills. He's talked about NIL. And we're going to go into that more deeply here shortly. You must represent your personal brand properly and their brand properly. And and even if you have some hiccups in your past, that doesn't mean it's over with, because we've seen it already. We've seen some amazing comeback stories. We've seen some amazing people that have overcome some treacherous backgrounds and become some of the most amazing people that we've ever seen. So thank you for saying that, JaWar.
Indeed.
About that doesn't take you out of the situation. So now, Ja, we just mentioned sports. You just talked about NIL briefly there. And man, when you have time, because I know, man, you're a busy dude. When you do get a chance to watch sports, what sport? What is your sport? Do you have a particular sport? Because I'm a baseball, football dude. What sport do you watch?
Okay, that's a great question. I'm going to continue with my transparency here. When I was slightly younger than I am today, basketball and football were the sports that I would watch. Over the years, as life would have it, I removed myself from watching a lot of sports. Fortunately, I am a Baba. Again, that means father. I'm a daddy.
Right. In what language? What language is that? Baba, what language?
In fact, there are many different cultures that recognize Baba as father. In Yoruba, for example, in various Indian, like in India, they recognize the word Baba, and there's many different cultures that recognize the word Baba as father. So you will find that in other parts of the world, outside of North America, it is universally accepted, so to speak.
I got you.
But I mentioned you're welcome. Yep. And so I mentioned that because one of my children, my son, he is heavy into sports, and it is because of him that I have become more involved with sports. And so football has become a bonding for us. He have his team, and because of him, I started riding with his team. But then, we would watch Deion Sanders, and we've seen him grow and coaching his sons. And so I told my son, I said, son, I ride with you, right? He said, yeah, daddy. I said, but here's the thing. Wherever Shador and Travis go, those going to be my teams, Travis Hunter. I said, because those are my two guys right there. You know what I'm saying? Those are my guys. He was like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? But so football was the one because it has created a bonding opportunity for my son and I really enjoyed that. In fact, I took him to his first NFL game last year to see his favorite team during the preseason. And it was a joyful moment because he didn't know. It was a total surprise. And he started crying. We drove up, man. It was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was cool. Real cool. Yeah.
I love that, man. Yeah. So football, hey, man, I love it because I am a football. I mean, that's my favorite sport as well.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a football and baseball guy. So that's beautiful that you made that a special moment to take your son to his first NFL game. And he's going to remember that for the rest of his life, bro. And that's what we're talking about when we start talking about parents being actively involved in their children's lives, no matter if you're in the household with them every day or not. That has nothing to do with it, in my opinion. It's all about the quality time you spend with them and those memories that you make while you're teaching them and helping them grow into productive and positive adults. That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? That moment will help your son because that's a part of the exposure part of what parents, educators, coaches, what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to expose our children to different things so they can expand their minds and continue to grow into the outstanding adults they're destined to be. Man, I love it, my brother. I love it. So what sports or extracurricular activities do your children participate in?
Yeah, so my son, you know, he's a shining star in that.
Yes, sir. No doubt.
You know, football is his sport, but he want to try everything. Like he just got finished. Well, he was running track, and he said, "Daddy, I want to run track." Okay, cool. Put him in track. Okay, Dad, I want to do football. Okay, cool. You know, all right, Daddy, I want to do soccer. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now he was like, "Well, I want to do baseball." So he want to try all the sports. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. You know what I mean? So he's like, okay, this is what you want to do. He's like, yeah, I want to do this. You know what I mean? So he's all for, you know, he did basketball, you know what I'm saying, as well. You know, he and his sister did basketball. His sister ran track. She has a natural athletic build. But that girl, though, she don't really want to do it. So, you know, we go back and forth with it. She like, I'm cool. I'd rather just sit here and twiddle and, you know, do arts and crafts. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Everybody got to find their lane. But you know, as a parent, you see things in your children and you like, but if you just put a little effort, like, you know what I'm saying, you can win the goal. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit, you know, because she do things effortlessly. You know what I'm saying? And that's an issue sometimes when you are gifted, not skillful. And I'll make a difference. Skillful is something that you develop by the habits you put in the W to work. The gift is something that comes naturally to you, so to speak, as it relates to the conversation and context, right? And so my daughter she gifted with this stuff. It's just natural. You see her running, like, man, how you know, she just do it. My son, he has gifts. Don't get me wrong, he does, but he has to develop the skill, and that is actually the edge that superstars have, because superstars are not born overnight. Anybody that's at the top of their game that reached the apex, they might have had a gift, but you go and study them, they'll tell you it's the work ethic that they hone the gift to create that skill, that talent. They hone the gift. And you got to do that if you're going to succeed in whatever your endeavor is, business or athleticism or both.
That's right.
Just like you, every time you do an interview, you improve every single time.
Yes, sir.
And so it's going to come to a point that after a while, nobody's going to be able to catch you. They probably can't catch you now based on what you do because you've been doing it.
Right. Oh, man, I love it. Ja, you just hit on something. Hone your gift. Everybody knows the story about Michael Jordan getting cut from the basketball team. I think it was his 10th grade year. He got cut, and then boom, he comes back. He goes and practice. Come back as a junior, and just, you know, starts developing into Michael Jordan and honing his gift. Hey, we just lost the great Sly Stone. We know he practiced for hours to hone his gift. So if you look at any great person, you can say, oh man, they just oh, you know, they naturally talented. That's why they succeeded. Yeah, that was part of it. But probably the part that was probably dominant was the fact that all the work they put in that you never saw them put in. Like they talked about Kobe Bryant practicing 4 times a day. I just heard a new story about Kobe where they said on game day. Now this is on game day. They said, let's say they played at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant was at the gym. Now they usually do a shoot around in the morning. They do a shoot around maybe at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Now the game is at night.
Yeah.
Man, I just heard a story about Kobe Bryant when we started talking about work ethic and honing your gift. This joker was at the gym. Let's say they had to shoot around at 10 a.m. He was back at the arena. This might be on the road or anywhere. He's back at the arena at 1 o'clock. Shooting again.
See. Yeah.
And like, let's say other cats, they say, oh, well, the game is 7. I'm going to get there at 3. They getting there. Kobe leaving. He's leaving. And they just not getting there.
Right.
Hey, bro, work ethic, honing your gift is what's going to separate you from anything, man. Thank you for that. Young people, I hope you're paying attention to what JaWar is breaking down for us here today. Thank you, my brother. This is excellent information. So now you basically told us about what you're instilling in your kids. But if you want to be more specific, Ja, when you knew your kids were about to be born, was there a certain way? Did you have a vision and plan on how you wanted to raise them?
Without question.
You knew they were coming.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about as far as the game plan for them? Because some people say, no, I didn't have no plan. I didn't have no vision. Yeah. But knowing you, I think you probably did. So did you have a plan? And if you did, what was it? Or what is it?
Thank you for asking. And I'm honored that you asked. So I'm going to say this part, and not a lot of people know this, but probably 15 or so years, might have been 20 years before my children were actually born, I set up 2 different mutual fund accounts.
Oh, wow.
For each of my children. Now, keep in mind, I didn't have children.
Right.
And incidentally, I have twins.
Right. That's right.
So this part goes into the spiritual realm of when you are given a signal to do something, it may not make sense to nobody else. But if you given a signal and that conviction is strong, then act on it. So hear me out based on your question. I started 2 mutual fund accounts for unborn children, unnamed children, because I wanted them to have a leg up when they came.
Right.
So that's that part. Now, when I found out that when our children were coming, oh yeah, man, for sure. I definitely had a vision and a plan for how I wanted to have them to be raised. And when they were still in their mother's belly, I would talk to them.
Yes.
Every day, I would speak to them.
Yes.
So that when they came out of the darkness into the light, that they would recognize my voice, my mannerism, my tone, my vibration. And it's true to life, right? So some of the things that I instill in my children is do the work that's required to earn the reward. Do the work that's required to earn the reward. Every day I have my children to say what we call I ams. I am strong. I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy.
Yes.
Excellence is my standard. I know nothing less because I am the best. Repetition. Excellence is my standard. I know nothing less because I am the best. I instill that into my children. I have them to say it every day.
Love it. Affirmations. Yes,
Affirmations.
sir.
because I need to equip their subconscious mind with that thought process so that there's no question about who they are and what they came here to do, which is to live an amazing and an astounding life, have an astounding experience, and to share that amazing vibration with as many people as they can. Work ethic, putting in the work, even when no one sees it, even when no one sees it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, that's powerful. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Mr. JaWar himself, Mr. Think, Plan, Execute. Affirmation. He planned when his children, before he had children, he already had mutual funds set up for them, mutual fund accounts set up for them. Talk about prophesizing, talking about making sure that you're putting great energy into the world where you're preparing for your children to come, and they're not even here yet. Now that's called planning. And then now he has them already on an affirmation schedule, a training system that we all know. If you study affirmations, you understand what they are. You can actually speak life into existence. You can actually speak life. That's what it's all about. Hey, God spoke, and it is. Period. So if you can speak destruction, I need all my parents, I need all my coaches, I need all my student athletes to really listen right now. If you can speak destruction, you absolutely can speak life. And what we're asking you to do is to speak life into yourself and to others that are around you. Hey, JaWar, thank you for that, brother. That was powerful right there.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Now, you just shared with us what you've done and what you are doing with your children specifically. Now I want to ask you this. When you see the current landscape of youth, high school, and college student athletes and artists, what do you see, man? Like how would you describe that with the young people that you see today in youth, sports, high school, and artists out here? How would you describe what you see today in today's landscape?
That's an excellent question. I think I see what I normally see, which is opportunity. Yeah. So the thing about this life experience is we see what we program our minds to see. If your mind is constantly taking in, your eyes and your ears are constantly taking in destruction, then that's what you're going to see. But if your mind and ears are fine-tuned to see opportunity, then that's what you're going to see. Here we are reminded that in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is a desert, and in Saudi Arabia, which is a desert, they took two of those places and they built them up into metropolis. Right. In deserts. For all intents and purposes, those areas should not exist.
Right.
Other people that came before the developers, the visionaries, they saw destruction. They saw extreme heat. They saw windstorms. They saw death. That's what they saw. And somebody came along and they had a vision and they saw opportunity. They created an oasis for all intents and purposes that should not exist. So I see opportunity. Well, what's the opportunity of the day? Well, NIL. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about that, but when you look at that, parents are saying, I want to send my child to a school and have them to play sports so they can get a free ride. Well, that's one way to look at it. But what about if your child is performing and they can actually start bringing in money as a high school student, and you can put that money into certain investments that if they get a full ride on an athletic scholarship, that's fine. But they can have so much money going into school. You know, it's a different environment. They can select a different school because they're not concerned with how they're going to pay for it. And you don't have to have a bunch of big companies to do this. You can work with local companies that will put money behind your student athlete. And speaking of student athletes, there's no reason that an academic student could not do something similar. You an honor roll. What about the businesses that want to put their name behind a high achieving academic student? See, people not talking about that conversation. Well, why not? Because they don't see opportunity. You on honor roll, that's great. No, excuse me, fool, that's opportunity.
I love
that's money. You just got to find the right companies that want to align with excellence. Because that student who is achieving academic excellence over and over again, they have a process, they have a formula, they have mantras, they have a work ethic. Therefore, that can be aligned with certain companies that say, yeah, we like that. I see opportunity.
Listen, brother, listen. Parents, student athletes, coaches, educators, anybody watching this video, if y'all have a question or y'all just want to make a comment on this video, please do so because we can see it and JaWar can answer those questions, or I can answer and address those questions or comments, because JaWar just dropped a bomb that I've never heard anybody. I'm talking about from ESPN to Fox Sports South. I'm talking about Ja. I've heard nobody. I'm talking about nobody speak about getting NIL money like you just talked about. Nobody, bro. You brought up the fact that academic NIL deals are out there too, and you are absolutely correct, bro. You are absolutely correct. So we're talking about our band members. We're talking about our artists that's in the art program that's painting and drawing. We're talking about our spoken word. We're talking about our debate. Hey, my daughter is developing into a state, world, international debating star. We're talking about kids that are making, they got like 4.5. I mean, there's kids graduating with 4.2, 4.3 GPAs, JaWar, right now. And so why shouldn't, I agree with you, why shouldn't them kids get NIL deals as well? Woo! Right. Hey, bro, I think you just broke something down that we're going to talk about off air, and we're going to, hey, brother, thank you, JaWar. I love it. So what Mr. Think, Plan, Execute sees in our young people right now is opportunity. Hey, bro, that's big, bro.
Listen, I got one to add for you.
Please, please.
It's called O Cubed.
You got me excited over here, brother.
Yeah, as you should, brother. Thank you. It's called O Cubed. Opportunity over obstacles.
I love it,
opportunity over obstacles. Opportunity over obstacles.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
O cubed, brother. O with the 3 rays. That's O cubed.
Woo! O cubed.
I got it. In case somebody want to do some mathematics on that.
Yes, sir. I love it.
Yeah. Because it's measurable. It's measurable.
O cubed. That's what you just said. O cubed.
O cubed, which is the
O with the 3. Oh, I got
sir.
it. Hey, man. Yeah. Oh, bro. Hey, bro. You break. Hey, you busting people in the head right now, brother. And thank you, because that's why you're here. And if you got any questions for JaWar, Mr. Think, Plan, Execute, please comment in the comment section, and we'll get you on air. We'll talk to you. And hey, we're here to serve. We're here to serve. Now check this out, Ja.
Yeah.
Check this out. So we just talked about what you see. You see opportunity over obstacle.
Correct.
I love it. Yeah. Now, how important then is it overall for our young people to show good character at school, at home, and in the community? Because now you're saying, and we know this for sure, that people are watching at all times.
Yeah.
So how important is good character? Because I've actually heard some parents talk, and I was amazed. Like they don't care nothing about no character. They think because their kid is talented in a particular sport or activity, that character doesn't even matter. Like they can cuss people out, they can be disrespectful. Now you already stated you have to abide accordingly. That you have to represent your personal brand properly.
Yeah.
But some people think the personal brand of having an attitude, having terrible body language, is okay, and they still think they're going to achieve just like anybody else. I don't understand that philosophy. But break that down to us. How important is displaying character at school, at home, and in the community? How important is that, John?
Okay, I'm going to do my best to link this example up with the question. So bear with me.
Yes, sir.
He is not an athlete, but at one point in time, he was at the apex of the entertainment industry. And when he found himself in troubled waters, as of this recording, he finds himself in troubled waters. When you find yourself in troubled waters, then your character will have people to either come to your defense and say, oh, that's not that person's normal behavior and character. Something must be wrong. If you have displayed a certain character. Now, if you have not displayed that character, if you find yourself in troubled waters, then people will not come to your aid, but they will come and put the nail into the proverbial coffin. And that is where Sean P. Diddy Combs is finding himself right now, is his character. So you don't have people coming to his aid to say, we understand that he did some wrongdoings. None of us are perfect, but that is out of line with a consistent good character that we know privately. You don't hear people saying that.
No, only thing I've heard. Now I mean, we're not going to go heavy into this, but I just want to say the only person I've seen come to his defense that I've seen in a video that can be played over and over again is Ray J. I've seen Ray J say, hey, man, I've been at a whole bunch of his parties. I haven't seen any of this stuff people talking about. Now, that's just the video I've seen. And it's a short video, too. Yeah. So I'm going to leave that alone.
So, and again, this is not to put him on trial. He's on trial. I'm just saying.
We're not judging at all. Absolutely. We're saying what we've seen and what we've heard.
And that if you displayed that level of good character over and over again, you're going to have a bunch of people come to your aid and say, none of us are perfect, but I can stand behind this long line, not just that a person didn't do a thing, but the thing that they did do. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
You don't have a lot of that. And so now if we talk about the student athlete and the economic impact, well, you lose your endorsements. Absolutely. So it's a direct economic impact with your character, because if you are displaying a character that doesn't align with the brand, then the brand is going to remove itself from you, and they're going to take their money with it. So why is the character important? Because the character, the good character, the excellent character, you don't have to be perfect. We're not saying that. None of us are perfect. Right. But overall, you want to display the intention that you have good character. It doesn't mean that you're perfect. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But overall, if we were to take a sum total of your experiences with other people, I'm going to give you another point. Who is an athlete, in fact? Michael Vick, right? When Michael Vick got into his situation, because he had displayed good character across the board, there were people that came to his aid and say, we understand that thing that he did wasn't necessarily the right thing to do. But overall, we know Mike Vick to be a good dude. We know him to contribute. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like it was, and so guess what that did? After that time passed, he had to deal with the heat. Okay, cool. Stepped away, Right. He was given another opportunity to come back and play in the NFL because of his good character. Listen to me now. Woo! Listen.
Well, yeah, that's a great example.
Back around. And he came back around, and now what is he doing? He's coaching, being in a position of leadership to share with other student athletes, in part, good character. If he didn't have that good character, my man, he wouldn't be given these other opportunities, these other chances. It was his good character. Listen to what I'm saying. It doesn't mean he's perfect. We all make mistakes. I keep saying that. But overall, it's the good character. And that good character has aligned him with more opportunity to generate more money long after he left NFL. So you want to in place and instill in yourself, in your children, in your family, good character in your student athlete. Who are you not to do that?
Right. Correct. Absolutely, Ja. Absolutely. Hold on for me. Let me make sure we don't go off the air live here. Let me make sure. Because, man, bro, you breaking down something mighty here. And I love it, brother. I love it. Absolutely. Hold on 1 second for me. I got to make sure this stays on.
We with you.
Here we go. Okay, we rolling now.
Yeah.
So now, Ja.
Yeah.
Brother, I wrote down your character is directly tied to your earning potential.
Yes, indeed.
Because you said a mouthful there, brother. Your character is directly tied to your earning potential.
Indeed.
Young people, if you don't understand that, I'm talking about being a non-athlete.
Right.
I'm talking about just in general. Your character is tied in to your earning potential.
Yes.
So if you don't get anything else from Mr. JaWar today, think, plan, execute. I hope you get that. That displaying good character, no matter what you see out here in the world, where you see people doing things that you never could imagine them doing, and you think they're getting ahead just because they're doing that. I will put money on the fact that you'll get even further when you're displaying great character and respect for yourself and others. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah, without question.
Almost guarantee it. Yes, sir. So now, Ja, you gave me some great information to everybody that's watching this video. What is an accountability transformation coach?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that on your Facebook. I've seen that on your Instagram. I've seen that on. What is that, my brother? Because I know you help a lot of people. You've helped me over the years. So what is an accountability transformation coach?
Yes. So when we look at the word accountability, it's actually two words, account and ability. An account is the measuring of something to keep a tally. The ability is one's opportunity in order to do something, taking advantage of it. So we want to measure your opportunity in doing something. So that's the accountability, measuring your opportunity in doing something, right?
I got you.
And one may hold themselves accountable, and then one may have a coach that helps to keep them accountable. And one may also have a team and or community or family that helps to keep them accountable. We're all accountable to someone or something, whether we like it or not. That's just how the universal law is set up. I didn't make up the rules. That's how it is. So accountability and transformation, right? I like to look at it as two words. So to transport, formation to form. So we want to transform. We want to transport the formation of something better than what we currently have. The transformation, the transforming of the mind, the transforming of the body, the transforming of the spirit, the transforming of the energy. So an accountability transformation coach is to help a person to hold themselves to their highest standard so that they can get to where they want to get to.
Woo!
Right? Helping you hold you to your highest standard. What is it that you want to do? Okay, well, I'm here to help you based on what you told me you want to do. Not what I want you to do, not what your parents, not what your coach, but what do you want to do? Do you want to be the best student athlete? Okay, well, what does that mean for you? Because we need to mark it down. Me being the best student athlete mean X, Y, and Z. Okay, now we know what that means. All right, where are you today? Well, this is where you are today. Okay, what do you think it's going to take to get you there? Well, I think I have to do 10 reps, 5 sets. I need to Okay, cool. I need to go to school, do my work, come home, take a shower, spend time with my mom and daddy, take my brother and sister out. Okay, all right, these are all things that you need to do, right? Okay, so what in that you doing that can you not do? Well, I can't drink and smoke. I can't be going to parties and hanging out till 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't be disrespectful to myself, my parents, my coaches, my team members, the other team. That I can't be bringing guns and knives to the field because that could get somebody in some trouble. Okay, cool.
Right.
All right, so now we have something. All right, so you can do that when you in a peaceful mind and everything good. What happened when you see something not good? If you see a fight, do you go run to the fight? No. I need to go away and call the proper authorities, the adults that's there. If you hear your teammate or your friend saying, yeah, man, we're going to get these people because they did X, Y, and Z, you say, well, maybe we should have the adults to take care of this who are in authority, our parents, the coaches, the resource officers, bring them in and have them, we're going to handle this myself. Okay, well, I'm going to pray for you, but I can't participate in that. Why? You not down with us? I'm not down with that. And if you were down with that, I'm not down with you.
Right.
Man, well, you not with us. Well, you're right, not with that. But if y'all want to go get some pizza or something, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? You want to go on the field and practice, when y'all want to Netflix and chill with the team at the school. We want to go to the weight room, go to the track, go to the swimming pool.
Yes, sir.
So the transformational accountability coach, while that is a profession, truth of the matter is all teams should be transformational accountability coaches with each other to help each other stay on the level.
Wow.
You have to do that.
I love it, man. Ja, I wrote down, you said as accountability coach, and you just explained how you can actually help student athletes and student artists. And I wrote down measuring your opportunities.
Yes.
Holding themselves to their highest standards so they can become the people, not who we say they should become, but the people that they say they want to become.
Correct.
Wow. Hey, bro, that's beautiful. So now we get ready to end this conversation, man. This has been beautiful. You dropped a lot of jewels. And to all the student athletes out here watching this video, hey, take notes while you're watching this video. And then you can actually get in touch with Mr. JaWar, Mr. Think, Plan, Execute. You can actually get in touch with Coach Brown. You can actually get in touch with youth education and sports, because we're here to serve and to help. Parents, you can get in touch with us because this is what we do to help our student athletes grow, our student artists grow. So, Ja, you see where the world is, bro. And there's a lot of amazing things that we've never seen before happening right now in our lifetime anyway. What are, if any, what are some specific things you're pointing out to your children for them to be aware of? Like, what would you tell student athletes to be aware of, the student artists that are out here aspiring to get to adulthood in a great way? Yeah. What would you point out to them where the world is right now to help them on their journeys?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So the fundamentals don't really change a whole lot. We can have as many technological advances as we would like, and I'm all for it. I'm into blockchain and crypto and AI and all these type of things. But the fundamentals don't change. Having a desire, having the habits that support the desire, having a vision, having a focus, putting in a doggone W, as you said, to work. Like, you have to do that. It doesn't matter what it is. You have to put in the work. And it's been said over and over again. I don't know who the originator of it is, but it's been said over and over again that you got to put in about 10,000 hours in order to start your journey. You got to put in the 10,000 hours to start your journey. Now, some people say to find a solution, but I like to say to start your journey. You got to put in 10,000 hours. And so what I instill in my children is, hey, you have certain gifts. I want you to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. With that being said, you need to hone in on your gifts to turn them into a skill.
Yes.
And the only way to do that is to do it over and over again. I'm not going to put my son on blast, but I got to say, he don't really care for reading. But every day, my children read 20 to 30 minutes a day. Now, when my son, Dad, I don't feel like reading. I say, I understand, son. He said, so do I have to read? Absolutely. Without question. Yeah. Well, I told you I don't want to read. I said, I heard you. And I tell them, you always can come to me and tell me your concerns, and I will always listen. It does not mean that we're going to change the foundational work. No. If you want to be the top student athlete, then you got to get out on that field, on that track, in that swimming pool, on that baseball diamond, on that ice rink. And you got to put in the time. On that basketball court, on that tennis court, you got to put in the time, and you have to do it in your books as well. Why is the book part so important? Because some people have a troubled time academically. The reason that's important is in this day and age, you don't want to miss an opportunity because you can't read and write.
Woo!
You don't want to miss no opportunity because you can't read and write. Now, I've been fortunate enough to have an amazing attorney, But part of the reason that I have an amazing attorney, we have an amazing relationship, is because I can read and write. So when he give me a contract, I outline it and give it back to him. He said, man, I don't have too many clients do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, well, yeah, this is stuff I don't want in it, brother. You put it in the legal terminology, but this, you know what I mean? But I can read and write.
Because that's the skill set that you develop, that you're saying, hey, young people, you got to develop a skill set.
Yeah.
I love it, bro.
And I remember reading through recording contracts in high school where everybody else was out partying. Hey, Jay, you want to go out and do this? No, I'm going to go read this book. Man, you're reading a book. Man, when school is over with. For you, not for me. I like what I'm doing.
Right. Hey, so one of my favorite stories, John, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories is my nephew, and shout out to Donovan. He actually finishing up his residency in Long Beach, California right now.
How about that?
But when I was coaching travel baseball years ago, coached for 8 years, you probably remember that. Man, we were at a Braves game. We took the team to a Braves game. We're sitting at Turner Field, bro. We're at the stadium watching the Braves play.
Yeah.
And he brings a book to the game.
See.
We at the stadium, we're watching, cheering, and all that, and he's over there reading the book.
See.
Now, his dad was like, man, pay attention to the game. I said, nah, bro. No. Let him read.
Yeah.
Let him read.
Let him read.
Hey, bro, that young man went on to be valedictorian of his high school class. Went on to medical school. Now he's finishing up his residency, bro.
Isn't that something?
So when you said reading, you just reminded me of that story. Because that's a true life story, bro.
Yeah.
And that's why reading is so important. And thank you, bro, for breaking that. The fundamentals do not change. That's why they say reading is fundamental. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
And here, thank you. That's a beautiful story. I'm gonna take that with me. I'm gonna regurgitate that. But in fundamentals, watch this. Has anybody ever told you that the first 3 words in fundamentals, the root word is fun?
Yes, sir. I love it.
See, fun.
Yes, sir.
And then the last part of the word is mental.
Woo!
Mental fun is fundamental. Hot dog.
Yes, sir. How about that? Man, hey, bro, you breaking down a lot of great stuff here today, Ja.
Yes, sir.
Fun, mental. Hey, listen,
mental
bro. Thank you for taking the time to participate, to have this conversation, bro, because it's been outstanding. And when everybody looks back at this video, when everybody checks out this Student Athlete Playbook video conversation featuring Mr. JaWar, Mr. Think, Plan, Execute, they're going to pick up a lot of jewels from this. So now, Ja, as we finish up, what message do you want to leave with all the student athletes watching this, all the parents watching this, all the coaches, youth service providers, educators watching this video? What do you want to leave with them, my brother? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Another astounding question. Put in the work, put in the effort, be focused, be committed, and think, plan, execute.
Wow. Well, thank you, my brother, for taking the time to speak with me today, to have this conversation about what our young people, what our parents, what a lot of people need to do just individually, not even just for student athletes, just what we should be doing. And here's what I'm gonna lay on the line, Ja. Hone your gift. If you have a conviction, move on it. The fundamentals do not change. Fundamentals, the first three letters are fun. The last word in there is mental. Do not be afraid to put in the work. And measuring your opportunities. Always measure your opportunities. And go explore those opportunities with everything that you have. Hey, Ja, my brother JaWar, this has been a great Student Athlete Playbook video conversation. Thank you. And for everybody out here watching, I am Barry Brown, author of the #1 book for youth student athletes, the Student Athlete Playbook, Success in the Classroom, Sports, and Life. And if you're in Metro Atlanta, you can visit Madu Bookstore over in Greenbrier Mall. Miss Nia will take care of you. You can also go out to Nubian Books out in the South Lake area, and my brother Marcus will take care of you. And if you just want to order it online, then yes, go to Amazon, go to Kindle Books, and you can order it. Just type in Student Athlete Playbook, and the book will pop up. The journal and the facilitator's guide will pop up. Order it and make sure you get everything you need for your student athlete. Thank you for watching the Student Athlete Playbook video conversation featuring none other than Mr. JaWar, Mr. Think, Plan, Execute, and Youth Education and Sports, the nonprofit organization, is here for you. I say one love. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.